Okay, great. Well, thank you everyone for having me this morning. I'm really excited to connect with you and to tell you more about Welcome Corps. And I am with HIAS, one of the 10 refugee agencies in the US. Okay, that's great. So I'm going to get started then. And then, of course, if there are questions along the way, I will stop in several places so people can ask questions. You can put your questions in the chat if you want, or you can just unmute yourself and ask me the question. And of course, if it's better for you to ask the question in your language, that's totally fine. So, okay, so let's get started. And I apologize in advance because I have a sore throat. So I hope that will be fine with me drinking some tea. This is the page that's really important for you all to understand for Welcome Corps. I really hope that you start to understand how the information on there works and what the information is, which is why I want to teach you and show you how it is. And I'm going to put the link to this page that I'm going to review right now in the chat so you can go back to this on your own at home or share it with your community. So the most important two things about this page is this little link right here that says Refugee Eligibility Tool and the place for you to create your account to apply to welcome your family to the US. So there is a lot of information on the rest of the page, but everything I'm going to tell you is going to already answer all your questions and cover all this information. So the most two important things for you to remember on this page is this, the eligibility tool, and then create your account, which I will go through completely with you. Okay? So the very first thing you need to know and do when you want to know if you can sponsor your loved ones to the US is go right here. Click on Refugee Eligibility Tool, okay? And then we click on Get Started, okay? And I'm going to walk you through the questions, every question, so you can understand who is allowed to participate and to apply in Welcome Corps. So the first thing they're going to ask you is, do the people you would like to sponsor already have a U.S. refugee admissions program number? Most people are confused about this. They don't know what this is. This means, has your family or your friends or the people you want to sponsor, have they already been contacted by the U.S. to tell them that they could come to the U.S. as a refugee? And if they have, the U.S. is going to give them a case number, a refugee case number. For most people, they have not been contacted by the U.S., and that is why they want to do Welcome Corps. Some people, if they have been contacted by the U.S., they will know. They will know because the U.S. will have sent them a letter or emailed them or called them. So if your family doesn't know, it's most likely that they were not contacted by the U.S. government. And so it's no, they don't have already a case with the U.S. Refugee Office. For your population, this question is always no, because you are not the Afghan population, right? Then the next question is, are all individuals you would like to sponsor 18? Are they all adults? If yes, that's fine, you put yes. If no, if you want to sponsor a family with children, you put no. And then the next question is, will the individuals under 18, will the children be accompanied by a parent or a guardian? It must be yes. If you have an aunt who is taking care of children, but she is not the guardian, she will need to get guardianship documents. Okay, so this is really important to know. Families must either be the parents or they must have legal guardianship documents to show that, okay, if they are going to apply to Welcome Corps. So it must be yes. Then the next question is the primary contact you want to sponsor living in their country of nationality? For most of you, it will be no, of course. It means, are you living in Bhutan? It's going to be no, right? Sorry. It's going to be yes. Are you living outside of the country of nationality? Yes, I am outside of that country. Are you located in the United States? No. People find this question funny, but I have had people who are asylum seekers in the US who ask, can I apply for Welcome Corps? And I've had to say no. This program is for people outside of the United States. Okay, so are they located in the US? No. Now, the next question is, where are they living right now? And I think for you, most of you, it will be Nepal. Am I correct? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, the most of your family members are in Nepal. Okay, great. Yep. Yes, okay, thank you. So I put that country, and now it tells you, okay, here are the documents you need. All individuals registered in Nepal must be registered with the UNHCR as refugees or asylum seekers, or they must be registered with the government of Nepal as refugees or asylum seekers. They must have a document that shows that, okay? At the end of the presentation, I will show you examples of those documents, okay? And so we have to put yes, you have to have this registration to participate. The next and last question is the documents, the registration documents. Did they obtain them on or before September 30th of 2023 of last year? For most people, I think it will be yes. If it's no, you don't qualify. But if they did obtain their documents on or before September 30th, it's yes. And it tells you that they are eligible. Cara?
So just I want to tell the attendees as you progress through your presentation, they can start noting their questions somewhere on a piece of paper that they don't forget any questions from any sections of your presentation. There is a request for interpretation too. I'll just go briefly on that one, and then you can move ahead. यहाँ नेपाली अनुवादको लागि पनि अनुरोध आइरहेको छ। अहिलेको खण्डमा जति प्रस्तुत गर्नुभयो चार्लोटले, यसमा चाहिँ को व्यक्तिहरू चाहिँ अमेरिका स्पोन्सर गरेर ल्याउन योग्य छन् भन्ने यो फारम जुन फारम थियो, उहाँले त्यो फारमलाई हामीले देखाउँदै हुनुहुन्थ्यो विभिन्न खण्ड फारमको, र केही प्रश्नहरू थिए जसमा व्यक्तिहरू अलिकति अल्मलिन सकिने खालको, तर धेरै जसो हाम्रा मान्छेहरू जो भुटानी शरणार्थी शिविर नेपालमा हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँहरूको विषयमा भने यी प्रश्नहरू सिधा सजिलै छन्, हामीले यस नगरेर जानेछ। यो पनि भन्न के चाहन्छु भने यदि कसैलाई पनि आजको प्रस्तुतिमा यो इन्टरप्रिटेसन राम्रोसँगले हुन सक्नु भएन भने इमेल मार्फत जानकारी गराउनु होला। हामी यही कुरो नेपालीमा छुट्टै पछि प्रस्तुति पनि गर्न सकिन्छ, तर त्यसको लागि पछि कुरा गरौँला। अहिलेलाई भने उहाँले हामीलाई के देखाउँदै हुनुहुन्थ्यो भने फारमको जुन हामीले भर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ पहिला, त्यो फारमका विभिन्न प्रश्नहरू थिए। ती प्रश्नहरू चाहिँ सबै योग्यताको विषयमा थियो, को मान्छेहरू चाहिँ योग्य हुनेछन् अमेरिका स्पोन्सरसिपद्वारा आउने भन्नेमा। तर सबै प्रश्नहरूमा म अहिले जाँदिनँ अहिलेलाई भने शार्लोट go ahead.
Good. Okay. Are there any questions? I can take questions right now and we can do interpretation. I have plenty of time. So are there questions right now?
I do see the first question on my screen I can see is, do we have to submit application for each individual or can we do for a family at a time?
Very good question. You do an application for a family. One application can take a maximum of 10 people.
प्रश्न थियो हामीले एप्लिकेसन गर्दाखेरि कुनै एकजना व्यक्तिको लागि गर्नु पर्ने हुन्छ कि सिङ्गो परिवारलाई पनि गर्न मिल्छ भन्ने प्रश्न थियो र त्यसको उत्तर छ हामीले 10जना धेरैमा 10जनासम्मको परिवारलाई एउटा एप्लिकेसनले काम गर्छ भनेर उत्तर आएको छ. It has been okay. So this is not a question.
I have another one.
Okay, please go ahead, Parshu.
यदि उहाँहरूको प्रोसेस भएको थियो, उहाँहरूले डिएचएस गर्नुभयो वा कुनै काहीँ प्रक्रिया पुर्याउनु भयो पहिला, तर यो जब यो रिफ्युजी प्रोग्राम बन्द गर्यो युएसले त्यतिखेर उहाँहरू छुट्नु भयो भने उहाँहरूको चाहिँ कस्तो के हुन्छ?
So the question is, the process had begun when the resettlement was taking place prior to 2018. How does this welcome call process work in those cases?
How does this work?
So those individuals whose process had begun, but before they could actually leave the camp and come here, it got stopped. So some individuals are there in the camp, when their process had begun. So should they be, should this be starting all over again?
So I don't believe that the process of Welcome Corps ever started. I wonder if it's the process of registration with the UN. Is this because Welcome Corps is completely new? So does he mean, Parshu, do you mean registration with the UN, the UNHCR?
No, I mean like they are a genuine refugee. They start their process, but when the election, when the US government put sanction, like stop the program in 18th, so they stuck there.
So they would have to start, yes, they would have to start this process again. You would have to apply again for them for Welcome Corps.
Hi, Charlotte. Hi, Charlotte. First,
Yes.
why can I interrupt?
Of course.
My name is Ishi, and I'm not working right now with the resettlement, but I had worked with IRC and was very, very involved from day one of the refugee resettlement. And I think I'm trying to clarify Portia's question right now. I think it comes under in the eligibility tool where you were talking about case, if you had a case number.
Yes.
I think people under the DHS process would have a case number. And that's where you say, yes, you have a case number. Usually it starts with NB number and then it has followed by digits. So I think that's where you say yes for the people who already were in the process of DHS.
Yes,
and they would
right.
have, just trying to help you answer some. But I also had some question of my own.
Yes, that's fine. Okay, so if you're talking about what Parshi was talking about, if they did have a US RAP number, then that's fine. But if Parshu, you were saying that it started, but it never went anywhere, then that if they don't have a US RAP number, then you just say no. If they do have a number like this, then you would put it in the application. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
you.
If you want to ask me your question, and then I'm going to go to the application part. But yes, go ahead.
Charlotte, can you clarify on the eligibility of UNHCR registration and I missed it, whether it was and or the government registration. Do they have to have both? I know that it's a process again where they have to be first recognized by the government and then be registered with the UNHCR. At this point, are you looking for both registration or one registration? I think I just missed it. Maybe I could really
That's
look
fine.
at the.
Yeah, that's fine. And thank you for asking this question because it's a very important question and one that is the main reason how people become eligible. It's or, so you don't have to have both. You would have to have a refugee registration either from the UNHCR or from the government of Nepal or whatever country you're in. So it's one or the other, but the registration must be for refugees and asylum seekers. It can't be a visa, it can't be tourism, it has to be for refugees or asylum seekers, and it has to be registered or issued on or before September 30 of last year.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
Of course, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to take a couple more questions from the chat, and then I'm going to move on to the application. Is that okay, Cara?
Okay.
Yeah? Okay, thank you. Can we apply if the family is living in India? If anybody is living in a different country that is not Nepal, so you would go to the same eligibility tool, the same screen I'm on right now, and you would select the country where they are right now. So this person just asked me, Kunti, you just asked me, they are in India right now. So I select India, and you're going to see it's the exact same question. As long as they have registration from the UNHCR or from the government of India, you would say yes, and the document has to be dated or issued on or before September 30th, and they would be eligible. So this works for all countries. Some countries have different document requirements, so it's really important that you go to this tool, you answer all the questions, you select the country they are located in, and then you see which documents they want. Okay?
I wrote a question right here. So, are all these countries on the list? Are they are they in the eligibility area? So, all the countries that appear on the list, are they all good in the program?
No, they are not.
So this is a list of all countries. Then
it's a list of all countries. For example, if I put Afghanistan, okay, I'm going to put Afghanistan. If someone right now is located in Afghanistan, it tells me these people are not eligible. There is an entire list, and I'm going to show you right now on the website. If you go to the main page I sent you to at the very beginning, the main page, at the very bottom, right here, this is the list of restricted countries, meaning the countries where if you are right now inside of that country, it's not you're from there, it's you're located there right now. You are not eligible for Welcome Corps. Thank you for asking this, Cara. And the three reasons really are, one, for example, if you are located in this country, Democratic People's Republic of Korea, this is North Korea. The US does not have diplomatic relationships with North Korea. They will not go inside of North Korea. So that is on the list. Afghanistan. The US has diplomatic relationships with Afghanistan, or some relationships. But right now, because of what we understand with the Taliban and everything, they no longer have access to the country. They cannot go inside of the country to process refugees and to get them out. If you are in another country, for example, like Canada or France or Germany, these are considered stable countries, countries where you have solutions as a refugee, and so you're not eligible. So this is a very good question. This is the list of countries where if you're located there, unfortunately, you cannot apply for Welcome Corps. And if you go to the eligibility tool, it will tell you that. Okay? So, Cara, would you like me to continue answering some of these questions in the chat, or should I move on to the application part?
Finish answering those questions because I think we finish up and don't have to come back.
Okay. So, Aaron is asking, do all Bhutanese refugees dwelling in the camp right now should they have a refugee ID card? I was there a couple of months ago, and some of them have had their IDs taken away. Okay, thank you for this question, Aaron. So the answer is that in order to participate in Welcome Corps, you see how important it is for people to have a registration document from the UN or from Nepal or whatever. If for some reason you do not have a document, you can apply for an exemption. And I'm going to show you inside of the application what this exemption is. And you can explain why you don't have a document. And the Welcome Corps team can grant you access to Welcome Corps if they believe that you have a valid reason not to have those documents. So if you had those documents, but they were taken away from you out of your control, you could qualify for an exemption. Okay? Asmi is asking, refugees who are still there in the camp, but they don't have their ID card. They took pictures of the ID card in 2018, but they never received the card yet. Very good question. Again, I think this would be a question that you would have to ask the exemption team. However, if you have pictures of them, you could still apply you could still put those pictures in the application and then let Welcome Corps know of the situation. So at least if you have the picture, that is a good thing. Okay. Another question is, my brother has no photo ID because he was missing and he came back after my parents arrived in the US. They submitted the missing form when they started the process. What happened in that case? Those are all really good questions about cases of people who are having issues with their documents. These, you could all apply for an exemption. There is no guarantee that the exemption will be granted, but you can apply to the exemption team and explain why you don't have the documents anymore. And why you think the person should still qualify for Welcome Corps. Okay. Okay. Somebody else because of the pandemic. Yes. Somebody asked if somebody had been in jail. This is something that the U.S. government will decide. If a refugee has been in jail or in prison, they will do a background check. If they were in jail or imprisoned as part of fleeing, then that's not their fault, but the U.S. would decide that. We at Welcome Corps don't have the authority to decide that. It will be once the U.S. goes to the camps and to Nepal, and they will do a background check on the refugees. Okay. Okay, there are so many more questions about...
So, Charlotte, I think the presentations will have answered some of the questions
Okay, so I'm going to now move on to the application part, okay, which I hope will answer a lot of your questions, because we've already been answering questions for about 30 minutes now. So, going back to the presentation, you went to the refugee eligibility tool and you saw that your family is eligible. If you see that your family is eligible, you click on create an account to apply. and it's going to bring you to this. You're going to click on create account. I already have one, and it's just going to ask you for your name, email, and address, and that's it. And then create account. And I'm going to sign in. And when you sign in, it asks you for a code. Okay. So I'm going to go and get my code to sign into my account. And this will ask you this every time as a security measure. Okay. So let me grab my code. You must have access to your email address. Okay. Okay, and now I'm inside the application. You will click on new application, okay? And then your application is going to open up. Mine is already created, but it's going to look like this. There are 7 parts to the application, okay? And I'm going to walk you through each of them, and I hope it will answer your questions. The very first part is where they ask you about your group. They're going to ask you to give a name to your group. This can be any name you want. It can be the name of your family, of a place. It doesn't matter. It can be any name. Then you're going to pick which organization you want to work with. It can be highest, but it can be anybody else. You're going to answer how you heard about Welcome Corps, and you're going to say why you're looking to sponsor a refugee. And I just wrote something like this. I want to sponsor my sister. It does not have to be very long. This part is not very important. The next part, it's going to ask you a lot of questions about where are you going to take your family, the refugees, to get their health screening, to get their medical appointments, to learn English, all of these things. And you will need to do that in your community. Maybe some of you already know where to go to get all these things. And so you need to do a little bit of research of where you will go to take your family once they arrive. Okay, so this is more the part of welcoming and resettling and where you're going to take your family to get all of this help when they arrive in the US. Okay, that's the first section. The second section is about your group. To sponsor your family or your loved ones, it doesn't matter. They don't have to be just your family. Whether you want to sponsor 1 refugee or 10 refugees, which is the maximum, you have to have a group of 5 sponsors. You and your community need to create a group of 5 people. And you're going to put the information of your 5 people right here. 1 person needs to be a group coordinator, and then you enter the information about all of the others. Then you're going to have to sign a commitment form. You click on this blue link right here, and it brings up a commitment form, which takes some time to load for me. And in the commitment form, you need to check a lot of boxes that says that you are going to help your family with housing and applying for benefits and getting access to healthcare, all these things. And then at the bottom, everybody needs to sign. They can sign with a pen or they can sign on the computer. And then you upload that here. Next, you need to check all these boxes. Your group members, they all need to be adults. You can't have group members that are children, but you can all be part of the same family. If, for example, you and your wife and your brother and your sister, you all want to be part of the same group and you all live in the same house, that's fine. You don't have to have group members that are all different or not of the same family. It doesn't matter who these 5 people are. You just need 5 people to make a group that will sponsor the refugees. Then all the 5 members must complete a background check, and you must all live in the same area. So if you have you and your wife in Minnesota, and then you have 3 friends in California, that doesn't work. You must all live in the same community to be part of the sponsor group. Okay? This is the second part. Are there questions specifically about this? You can unmute yourself or put them in the chat.
No.
Yeah, someone has a question?
No.
No? Okay. No questions.
Can you go to the top, the first one, where there's a selection about which organization that you would like to work with?
This one?
Yeah. So did you say that can be any organization or?
Yes, you can pick any organization you want to work with. It doesn't have to be just HIAS. It can be any of the organizations who do this work of Welcome Corps. And if you don't know, you can just put you don't know. This organization, once your family arrives, they are going to be the ones who are going to help you. They're going to help you with your family to get them settled. So it's up to you who you would want to work with if your family was accepted in the U.S.
Okay. And would it be helpful if, let's say, I live in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and then some of these organizations might be in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and they might not be in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So would it be helpful for the group to identify those and mention there?
You can if you want, but there are not very many organizations who work locally with Welcome Corps. Welcome Corps is a national program, so most people don't have local offices. But if you know of one, you can pick them, absolutely.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry.
Yes, of course.
Okay, I think I may have missed it. I joined it maybe later than the starting point. So you were talking about the first 5 family members. Is there a, what do we call is there a income limit that they should have? Or
very good question. Yes.
Yeah.
There is not. They do not ask you for your income or for your taxes or for your W-2. They do not. Welcome Corps does not care, which is good. So no matter how much you make a month, you can still sponsor your family.
How about the status? Would they have to be a citizen or even with the green card they can sponsor?
Yes. Thank you for asking this question. The 5 members must all be either U.S. citizens or green card holders. However, it's not because you are not a U.S. citizen or green card holder that you can't help. You can still help when your family arrives. It's just you won't be on the application, but that's it. Okay? I'm going to answer a few questions related to this in the chat. Hi, Jim. Let me just answer some questions from the chat, and then I will come back to you if that's okay. Maybe it will be the same question as what you have as well. Will refugees who come through Welcome Corps receive the same benefits as other refugees? Really good question. Yes, they do. It's the same U.S. refugee program. It's just some of them come through agencies and now some of them come through Welcome Corps, but it's the same program. So they have access to the same benefits, SNAP, Medicaid, cash assistance, all of this is the same. So people ask that. So yes. And then so 5 members can have one account. Kunti, you asked. Yes, one account. The group coordinator is going to put their email address and is going to be the person who has access to this account, but it's going to be for all 5 private sponsor members. Okay. Can residents from different cities? Yes, remember, it can be drivable cities. So if you're kind of in the same area, like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, that's fine. But different states, no. You cannot be in different states to be part of the same group. Jim, if you want to ask a question, and then I'll go to the next part.
Yes, I have a question for.
Of course.
I just have just about like a city. Like I live in a Erie, and other family, my family live in a Harrisburg. So we can do like a 5-member. That's okay, or the Erie is like a 6-hour difference in the Harrisburg, but same state.
Yeah, so no, it must be the same city area. If you live in a really big state, it's almost like a different state.
Okay.
So yeah, it has to be in the same drivable area.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Somebody asked about the application fee for this. Please, no, this is completely free. You do not have to pay anyone for Welcome Core. Welcome Core is completely free. You don't have to pay me. You don't have to pay Welcome Core or the US. It is all completely free. Okay? The only thing you pay for is this little background check right there, and that's $15 online. Everything else is free. Okay? There are a couple more questions related to this part, so I'm going to take them. Could the same group of 5 sponsor different families? This is a very common question where, of course, you want to sponsor many people. So there is a bit of a trick on that one. You can have the same group of 5 can do several applications at the same time, but the group coordinator cannot be the same person. So if you have member 4, for example, now, who becomes the group coordinator, then that's fine. But it cannot be exactly the same group of 5. You need to change it a little bit, maybe change one person, and the group coordinator, most important, cannot be the same person. Okay?
It's a question, who helps them get the benefit? So once the refugee family is here or the individual is here,
yes.
Is it the private group, sponsor group that helps, or the agencies?
Yes. The private sponsor group really commit to doing 2 things, 2 really important things. You commit to do this for your family. You commit to helping them with all the benefits and all the services that an agency normally does. So you are now the agency. You are the case managers, which is why they ask you to put the addresses of all the places you plan on taking your family to. The agency will not help you. They will know that you are a Welcome Core group, and they will know that it's not their job to do it, that it is your job to do it. So just keep that in mind. And the second thing you commit to doing is raising money to sponsor them. And I'm going to go to that in part 6. Okay? I'm going to move on, and then if we have time, I will come back to more questions. And of course, I will share my email so I can take more questions. The next part, section 3, is somebody needs to do a training. It's an online training. It's a free training. You click on this link, and it will take you about 3 hours. And when you're done, it will give you a certificate of completion that looks like this. And then you upload that in part number 3. The next section is one of the most important sections, and it's the section where you are going to put your family's information. Remember, you can sponsor a family of up to 10 people. Or maybe not just a family. Maybe it's 2 families that live together in a camp right now. Or maybe they live together somewhere, or maybe they're not even family. They just make up a group of 10 people you want to sponsor. That's okay. You can also do that. Just know that the people on the application will come together, and they must all live in the same country. So if you have 3 people in Nepal and several people in India, that's not going to work, okay? They all have to be located in the same area right now and then be resettled later in the US together. Okay, so let me go through what information you're going to need to enter for each part for each refugee. The first part is going to be how you know them, and then it's going to be their name, their date of birth. It's going to ask you again for that US RAP number we were talking about earlier. If they already started the process and they have that number, that's really good. You can just say yes, and you enter that number right here. If they don't have it, that's okay. You just say no, okay? And then they're going to ask you which country they're located in right now. That's the first part. The second part is more information about them, their country, are they married, their religion, language, all of this. The third part is where you enter the documents, where you upload the documents. Again, remember that the documents must be refugee or asylum seeker registration documents, either with the UNHCR or with the government of the country they're in right now, okay? And that registration date must be on or before September 30 of 2023, okay? So you upload the document here, and then you must put the date of registration here or issuance. If you put a date that is after September 30, it will give you this message. It will say, you are not eligible for this. Now, many of you asked questions about what if they don't have the documents or there is a problem with the documents. This right here is where you can request an exemption. I'm going to put the link in the chat so that you know where to go to request an exemption. You need to start the application, okay? First, you must start the application, and then you go to this website and you email them saying you need an exemption because your brother had a registration, but they took it from him. Or during COVID, they took it and they never gave it back. Or whatever the situation you just told me. And that's how you apply for the exemption, okay? It's not guaranteed. It's reviewed by exemption teams, but it's one more chance that you have if the document is not what Welcome Corps asks for. Then you upload a picture of your family member. Then the last part is the most difficult part, and I apologize that they ask you to put this there, but it's a very important part of why your family members are refugees. And so they must explain who harmed them in the past and what happened to them. You can't specifically just talk about the history of Bhutan and what happened at that time. It has to be specific to the refugee. You have to explain specifically what happened to them. And I know that's very difficult. And maybe your family members don't speak English, so you would have to help them write it. Maybe they tell it to you and then you write it to them for them in English. But this is an important part. Okay? So you have to explain this of what happened in the past. And you also have to explain if they have concerns about going back to Bhutan today. And if they do, what would happen to them if they went back? Okay? It doesn't have to be yes, it can be no. But if they have concerns about going back to their country, then why is that? Okay? Are there any questions about this particular part, which is a very important part of your application?
There's one question. The registration documents of the refugees back in the camp, what if those documents are not in place?
If they're not what? I'm sorry?
Not in English.
That's okay, because of course the UN is used to having documents in multiple languages. Are they not in even translated in English at all?
So that's the question. Should they be translated to upload for us to upload, or they can be?
No, they do not need to be translated to upload. I believe most documents have the original language, and then they have some English. And I will show you at the end some examples of documents, and you will see most of them have another language. But if they don't, that's okay.
Hey Charlotte, this is Love. Just talking about these two topics. Like some of the friends that I know who are still in camp are in their like late 20s or early 20s, but when they left Bhutan, they were like 2-3 years old, so how could they describe this if they can't talk about the history?
Yeah, thank you very much for asking this question. So, a couple of things from what you were saying. If it's a family and there are children in there who were just recently born, for example, when you put the date of birth right here, if you put the date of birth for a child, this part, refugee claim, is going to disappear. It will not ask you to give a refugee claim if it's for children. Now, if they are adults now, in the refugee claim, they would have to ask their parents, their family, what happened to them and why they left and why they cannot go back or do not want to go back. I hope that helps.
Thank you.
I have one question, please.
Yes, of course.
My mom and dad and my brother, they are in Nepal as a refugee status.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, my brother, he married, and she is not from the refugee camp. She is the Nepalese citizen, and they have one son. So if I do their process, so what I have to do in the one application for all, or what I have to do?
Yes, you can put them all in one application for all of them. You can put up to 10 people in one application.
But my question is, my mom, dad, and brother, they are in the refugee status, and they have all the documentation and all the information, and even their process they did up to DHS, and the process was stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And they are not because the process is totally stopped, and they are back in refugee camp. And after that, my brother, he married to the Nepalese citizen, and my sister-in-law and the son, my brother's son, they don't have refugee any documentation. So what I have to do in this condition?
Yes, very good question. Thank you. Lots of very good specific questions.
Mm-hmm.
So for your sister-in-law and your nephew or niece who are Nepalese citizens, you would have to apply for an exemption for them.
Means I have to go with the same application or the different application?
Yes, you have to put them in the same application, and then in the exemption, you would say that they do not have their documents because they are citizens. And you would ask for an exemption for them too, just these two people.
His son is 9 years old. So he don't have any, he have a birth certificate, but he don't have any citizenship for that. But so I have to go in a different way, right?
You have to apply for an exemption for him.
Okay, but in the same application?
In the same application, yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm putting the exemption information here again. Okay, I'm going to continue. I wish I could answer all your specific questions, but hopefully we can connect after. So, this is the part with the refugee information. The next part is the best part, is where you get to put the airport you would like them to arrive if they are accepted. So that's a pretty easy one. The closest to you, and then the second one. One thing about this is, you may already know this, but I want to say it again. You, as sponsors, do not have to pay for the flights. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, pays for all flights for all refugees. But then you have a loan. The refugees will have a loan when they come to the US, and they will have to repay that loan, which is just the cost of the flights to the US. You can help your family repay for those loans, but you don't have to. It's their responsibility to repay for it, okay? But just know, you don't have to pay for them to come, and they don't have to pay right away. They have 6 months to repay that travel loan after they arrive, okay? The next part is the financial part. I told you, as sponsors, you really commit to doing two things. One is helping them resettle, apply for benefits, get a job. The second is you commit to raising money to bring them to the US. And the amount of money you need to raise is $2,425 per person, okay? So if you want to just sponsor one person, that's that amount. If you want to sponsor, let's say, 4 people, then it's $9,700. This little tool right here is going to tell you how much you have to pay, okay? How much you have to raise, sorry. Now, you don't have to raise the entire amount right away. By the time you submit your application, you only need to have 60% of that money. And they tell you what this is here. As long as you have a bank statement or a GoFundMe page or a letter from a church or a mosque or a community organization that shows that you have 60% of the amount and you upload it here, then you're good to go, okay? So this is really important. That's the second part that you must do, is raise that amount for your family members. Are there specific questions about this?
I have one question, please.
Yes, go ahead.
One thing I didn't understand over here, like, I see like everything is free over there, but in this part about the rice fund, so this rice fund is for what purpose?
Okay, so the question is, you said earlier that
yes,
the application is all free now. Why this money?
Yes, I understand what you mean. So you're right. There is no application fee. You don't have to pay the government, but you do have to raise money. So that's not the same as an application fee, because this money, you're not going to give it to anyone. You're not going to give it to the government. You're not going to give it to Welcome Corps. You're going to keep it in the United States. And the reason why Welcome Corps or the government wants you to raise $2,425 per person is because when your family arrives at first, they're going to need a little bit of time. They're not going to be able to find a job right away. It's going to take them at least 2 or 3 months. And during that time, and until they get even their benefits, their cash assistance, their food stamps, it takes a few months. During that time, you as a family, you are responsible to pay for their expenses. And so this money is there to help them pay for rent if they're not going to live with you, but they can live with you if you want to. But it's also going to pay for extra utilities, extra beds, maybe extra food, anything that they need. Maybe they will need a car to go to a new job. This money is what the government requires to make sure that you take care of them until they receive their benefits and their employment. So you don't pay that money to anyone, but you still have to raise it and you keep it in your bank account to use when your family arrives.
Oh, okay. So when the process is going on, when the families will come in the United States, so this balance should be in my bank account.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, okay. I got it. Thank you very much.
Yes. And you open a bank account just for this. It can't be in your bank account where you have your food and your rent that comes in and out. It must be in a bank account just for this.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Yes, go ahead, Cara.
I should jump in and interpret this for the rest of
course, absolutely.
Yeah. So यो खण्डमा चाहिँ यहाँ एउटा प्रश्न आएको थियो अगाडि भनेको थियो ती लाग्दैन तर अहिले आएर यति रकम उठाउनुपर्छ एकजना रेफ्युजीलाई अमेरिकामा ल्याउनको लागि कम्तीमा $2,425 चाहिँ ब्याङ्क खाता एउटा छुट्टै ब्याङ्क खाता खोलाउनु पर्छ भन्ने आयो यो के को लागि भन्ने प्रश्न थियो यो चाहिँ हामीले यसलाई यसरी बुझ्न सकिन्छ हामी जब रेफ्युजी भएर आयौँ हाम्रो रिसेटलमेन्ट एजेन्सीले हामीलाई 2 महिना 3 महिना या केही महिना रेन्ट तिर्दिएको बस भाडा तिर्दिएको युटिलिटी बिलहरू तिर्दिएको त्यो हामीलाई सुरुका दिनहरूमा जुन सहयोग पाउँथ्यौँ एजेन्सीहरूले दिने त्यो एजेन्सीको रूप चाहिँ हाम्रो त्यो 5 जना या 5 देखि 10 जनासम्मको ग्रुपको स्पोन्सर ग्रुपले खर्च गर्ने हो उहाँहरूको लागि तर मसँग यति पैसा छ मेरो ब्याङ्कमा यति छ भनेर भएन हामी 5 जना या त्योभन्दा माथिको 10 जनासम्मको व्यक्तिहरूको एउटा स्पोन्सर ग्रुप बन्छ त्यो ग्रुपले एउटा छुट्टै ब्याङ्क अकाउन्ट खोलेर कतिजना परिवार ल्याउने हो अथवा कतिजना रेफ्युजी ल्याउने हो त्यो त्यसलाई क्याल्कुलेट गर्छ तर एकजनालाई $2,425 सम्मको चाहिँ हामीले खातामा देखाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ नयाँ खाता खोलेर देखाउनु पर्ने
मलाई एउटा क्वेसन सोध्न मन लाग्यो
हजुर सोधिहाल्नुहोस्
त्यो चाहिँ जस्तै अहिले हामीसँग भएको जुन रेगुलर ब्याङ्क एकाउन्ट छ त्यसले भएन तर त्यो प्रोसेस गर्न थालेपछि चाहिँ हामीले छुट्टै उहाँहरूको लागि एउटा ब्याङ्क एकाउन्ट खोल्नु पर्यो र एमाउन्ट चाहिँ डिपोजिट गर्नु पर्यो
हजुर तपाईले ग्रुप बनाउनुहुन्छ ग्रुप बनाएपछि साथसाथै तपाईले ब्याङ्क अकाउन्ट खोल्नुहुन्छ एप्लिकेसन सबमिट गर्दाखेरि तपाईहरुले ल हामीले यति रकम ब्याङ्क अकाउन्ट खोलेर जम्मा गरिसकेका छौं भन्ने प्रुफ दिनुहुन्छ
सर ग्रुपको एकाउन्ट खोल्नु कि जस्ट एकजनाको नाममा खोल्दा हुन्छ
So the bank account should be open personal account or by the group. Can one open among the group members?
Yes, a very good question. Any of the 5 members here, any of the 5 members can open that bank account as long as their name is on it and the group name is on it. The group name is the name you put here at the very top. As long as that is on it, it's fine. It does not have to be open by all 5, and it does not have to have the refugee name on it.
So let's go ahead and finish up the presentation.
Okay, I'm going to mute and then finish, and then I can take more questions. Okay, so we have the financial part that we just talked about. And then the last part really is they are just going to ask you to check and agree to some things. And then once you've done this, and once you have green marks on all 7 parts, that is when this button right here, submit, will become available and you can click on submit. If you would like one of our team members to review your application with you, that's what I do every day. I help people submit their application and answer all their specific questions. We can do that. I will put our email in the chat at the end and you can contact us and we can help you complete your application. We can review your documents. We can do everything. And that's free, completely free. Okay. We already get paid. You don't have to pay us. Okay.
Excuse me.
Yes,
can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Hi. Yeah, I have a question. So, how long the process is? How long the process is start? Will there be physical office in Nepal for this process? Just like we used to have like UNHCR and IM.
I believe so. We haven't been told that there won't be. Nepal is on the list, so it means that most likely they are planning on processing people in that area, which I think is very good news. So we haven't had anyone submit yet. But yes, I believe that is the case because Nepal is on the list. There are countries that are not on the list, like Afghanistan, Sudan, other countries, because Welcome Corps has decided they will not go there. But Nepal is on the list. So I believe it means that they will have teams who will go there to process people.
So I have another question.
One more question. Hari had a question. So let's take Hari's question and then move ahead. One more question.
Okay, yes.
Hari, तपाईँको microphone unmute गरेर question ल्याउनुस्.
Sir, can I ask?
एकछिन हरि जाँदै हुनुहुन्छ है त.
Okay, sorry.
हैन हरि तपाईँको पालो.
हरि अधिकारी भन्नुभयो नि?
हजुर.
मेरै हो जस्तो लाग्यो. I do have one question. You talk about the per person $2,425 fee on the sponsor. Does it include that flight ticket charge also, or that is beyond that expenses?
Yes, thank you for asking that. So that was what I was explaining earlier. You do not have to pay for the flights. This does not include the flights because the sponsors do not have to pay for the flights. The IOM will pay for flights. And then once the refugees have been in the US for 6 months, they will repay the IOM. But you, as a sponsor, you do not pay for flights. So this money does not include flights.
Okay, thank you.
Charlotte, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Krishna. My question is about the fundraise again. For example, if I get a letter from church or from any other organization, at that time, do we need a bank account or not?
Very good question. No, you don't. If you get a letter from an organization that has the dollar amount that you need, so I don't know how many people you want to sponsor, but it has that dollar amount or at least 60%, and they say, this money is for the sponsoring of refugees for Welcome Corps. You upload that, and that's enough.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
The question coming repeatedly, Charlotte. How long does this process take place?
Yes, thank you for asking this question. Very good question. So, the simple answer is we do not know. The average is about 18 months to 2 years. So it's not any faster than regular refugee processing. But we know that some refugee processing has been taking less time. We know that some of them take about 4 months, but it could also be several years. Because this is a completely new program, and especially, as you were saying, Nepal has not had anyone processing for some time. We don't know how long this will take. Several months to maybe several years. Which I know is not a good answer.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can ask a question, and then I will just do one last thing I want to show you. And then I'm happy to stay for questions if people want to stay or log off, but I'm happy to answer all questions. I have 1 more hour, so that's why I'm here. So go ahead.
Okay, sorry, let me ask one question to the boss. Since the IOM is going to pay for the flights, are they going to have the DHS and also the medical? That's one question. The other one is what are the things they should, we as a party to help them fill out the application should avoid in order to be eligible?
Okay, I heard the first question, but I had a hard time hearing the second question. So the first question you were asking about the medical checks, if the medical checks are still going to happen, I think. Yes, it will still happen. It's one of the things I wanted to share with you. What will happen once you submit your application? So let me explain this, and that includes the medical checks. Once you submit your application, the first step is the Welcome Corps team, which are real people like me. It's not just computers. They're going to review your application, and they're going to check that you have all the information and that your family qualifies. Once they see and they agree that your family qualifies, they will accept the application and they will email you. They will let you know that your application has been accepted and now it has been sent over to the U.S. government office in the country where the refugees are. Once that happens, the U.S. government takes over everything. I will not know anything. You will not know anything. Welcome Corps will not know anything anymore. We have no control. Now it's between the U.S. government and the country where your family is. And they will begin 4 steps. The first is pre-screening. They will take their fingerprints and their name and everything, IDs. Second step is interviews. They will have to do the interviews again, explaining their story. Third step is the medical checks. They will do all the medical checks that you probably all did. And then fourth is cultural orientation, booking flights, coming to the US. Okay? So this is how it works. And you know, this is a process that takes very long time. And it's also a process where they must pass each check. It can stop at any time. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But I hope they don't.
Excuse me.
Yes, go ahead.
I have another question.
Yes.
I have 2 questions, so I want to add at the same time. So okay. Which form will you fill up? Is that I-130? It's the different forms, the application.
Okay, first question, I can answer that. And what is your second question?
Okay, and the second question is, when will the process start?
Okay, what do you mean by the process?
Like what we are talking about now, you are explaining those things, what we will be doing and all that stuff.
Okay, so thank you for asking this. So the first question is, you do not need additional documents. This application right there that I just went through with you is the application. There is no additional documents, no additional government application to do. This is the application. You create it, you fill out all the 7 parts, and you submit it. And that is your application, your immigration application for your family.
Answer.
When will it? Oh, yes, go ahead, Karan.
Yeah. So the answer is this application is live and people can start right away today.
Absolutely. That was your other question, and somebody else asked this. The application is live now. It's started a few weeks ago. When I originally emailed you, Cara, that's when it started. So now people have already started to submit applications, and we know a few have already been accepted and been sent over to the countries where refugees are. But there is no deadline. Please know this. There is no deadline. This will not stop. It's not part of the U.S. immigration, so you don't have to fear that it will stop. It will not stop. It's better to take your time and do a good job with the application and then submit it and ask us for help. But don't rush through it because it's not going to close anymore. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Of course, you're welcome.
Question सोध्नु मन पर्यो.
हामी पर्छौँ सिध्याउन दिउँ. Let's finish first. I think we are almost done with the presentation part.
Okay, yes. I just want to show you one last thing, and that is examples of documents. so that you can see maybe what they look like. Okay, if that's okay, I want to show you this very quickly, and then I will take all your questions. So let me just get a few examples here for you, if that's okay. Okay, so I was just opening up different types of documents. All the personal information is not there, so you don't have to worry about that. So, okay, here it is. Okay, so here are examples. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, so here are examples of different documents that people are submitting that shows that they are registered with the UNHCR or the country there. Okay, so can you see this one in India?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is one example. There was a picture right here. Okay, you can see UNHCR. We can see that this was done in India. We can see the date of when it was issued. And we can see this is for someone who is an asylum seeker. And so this is a registration document that qualifies and that you would upload. Another example is one like this. This is one in Thailand. We get a lot of those. And this is for a family. It had their picture, their number here. It shows us the registration date. You know, it needs to be before September 30, 2023, right? So this is good. It shows us that they are in a refugee camp in Thailand. So this is a family registration. Another example is, I want to show you a picture in, I think it's right here, of a card right here. Okay, you can see that. This is in Rwanda, but this is a card for one person, for example. And it has the UNHCR, it has the Republic of Rwanda, it has his picture, name, all of this. So these are the types of documents that we want to see. They can be from UNHCR, but they can also be from the country themselves. Okay, so this is the type of documents we're looking for. Okay. I'm done with as much information as I can share. And I can now answer questions.
Okay. Any questions, huh?
म एउटा क्वेशन सोध्नु पर्यो भने
Okay. Wait. Fullमा बहिनी एकछिन पर्खनुहोस्, हामी वीर भाइतिर जाउँ. So let's go for the question answer. The first question.
मेरो क्वेशन चाहिँ के हो भनेदेखि नेपालमा फोटो रिटर्न भनेर लगेको फोटो अहिलेसम्म रिटर्न गरेको छैन अरे हैन. अनि त्यसको त्यो फोटो रिन्यू गरेर लगेको ठाउँमा नदिएपछि त्यस्तो पनि हुन्छ, प्रोसेस गर्नु मिल्छ कि मिल्दैन त्यसको बारेमा पनि सोधिदिनुस् न. अनि अर्को कुरा, अघि 5 जना मेम्बरशिपको डेबिट कार्ड हुनुपर्छ भनेको भन्नुभएको थियो. 5 जना मध्येमा 1 जनाको बनाउनु पर्छ कि 5 जनाको हुनुपर्छ, हो त्यो पनि अलिकति क्लियर भएन.
कन्ट्रिब्युसन चाहिँ 5 जनाले गर्नुहुन्छ. बैंक अकाउन्ट 1 जनाले खोल्नुहुन्छ, तर आफ्नो नाममा होइन, ग्रुपको नाममा खोल्नुहुन्छ है त. So the second question was about the bank account. The first question was about someone who was already in the process for resettlement. Pictures were taken and the process stopped. Should they wait to get that continued, or they can begin a whole new application?
They can begin a whole new application.
कुनै प्रक्रिया सुरु भएको थियो भने त्यसलाई छोडेर तपाईले नयाँ एप्लिकेसन है स्पोन्सरद्वारा गरेर ल्याउने हो भने नयाँ एप्लिकेसन सुरु गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ.
हो कि तर पहिला हामीलाई ल्याउँदाखेरिमा हामीले त्यो रिफ्युजीको आइडी कार्ड देखाएको थियो नि, हो त्यस्तो रिन्यू गर्ने भनेर लगेको कार्ड, तर उहाँहरूले रिटर्न गर्नु भएको छैन अरे. हो त्यो चाहिँ चाहिन्छ कि चाहिँदैन अहिले प्रोसेस गर्दाखेरि भन्नु खोजेको.
Some refugees they were supposed to get their refugee card back, but they have not received yet. How does that?
Yes. So in those cases, you begin an application, and where it says you must upload the document, you then stop and you ask for an exemption. I have put in the chat, and I'm going to put it again, the link to request an exemption. And let me explain a bit more what this means. It means that if your family, they qualify, they are refugees, they had documents, but they lost the documents, or somebody took their documents, or there is a situation where for some reason they don't have the documents, you email the exemption team at Welcome Corps, and they will ask you to explain why your family doesn't have the documents. If they believe that it's a good reason why they don't have it, they will still allow you to submit your Welcome Corps application. If they believe it is not a good enough reason, unfortunately, they will not be eligible for Welcome Corps. Okay? So in this case, you must communicate with the exemption team to find out if you can continue the application. Does that make sense?
Okay, let's go to full.
दाइ मेरो क्वेसन के हो भने फर इक्जाम्पल मेरो 4 जना फ्यामिली मेम्बर उहाँ हुनुहुन्छ अहिलेको हालमा 2 जना आउने पर्नु भयो अनि 2 जना चाहिँ नआउने पर्नु भयो भने त्यस्तो फ्यामिली मेम्बरलाई रकोलाई हामीले फेरि प्रोसेस गर्न मिल्छ यदि मिल्छ भने कति टाइम वेट गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने मेरो प्रश्न
Supposing I have 4 family members who have made their way and that 2 are left because they don't want to come, but if they change their mind later on, will this process remain for us to apply again in the future?
If they change their mind in the middle?
Yes. So there are four family members who are willing to come now through this process. We sponsor them to stay back, but months later or years later, they change their mind and they want to come and we want to sponsor them. Will this process remain? Will this Welcome Corps remain so that we can get those 2?
Okay, so yes, Welcome Corps will stay. Welcome Corps is not leaving, is not going anywhere. Okay, so, but the reason why I was hesitating is because if you apply for 4 members, 2 continue and 2 say, no, we don't want to do this anymore, and they drop, the U.S. may be hesitant to include them again if they already said no one time. So maybe if you have 2 members who are not sure, don't include them right away.
मैले भन्न खोजेको इन्क्लुड नगर्ने हो तर फ्युचरमा माइन्ड चेन्ज भएर आउने पर्नु भयो भने चाहिँ फेरि उनीहरुको एप्लिकेसन गर्नको लागि हामीले कति वेट गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने मेरो प्रश्न
Question is how long should we wait for those 2 again if we decide to bring them here?
As long as you have a group of 5 that looks a little bit different from the first one, where the group coordinator is different, you can do 2 applications whenever you want. But the same exact group cannot do 2 applications at the same time. If you want to do 2 applications at the same time, the group of 5 has to be a little bit different.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Can I make a question, sir?
Ask me.
हाम्रो चाहिँ आन्टी रहनु भएको छ उहाँ क्याम्पमा हैन अनि आन्टीको चाहिँ सबै रेजिस्टर गरेको छ क्याम्पमा भाइ नानीहरु 3 जना नानीहरु छन् उनीहरुको चाहिँ रेजिस्टर छैन अनि नानीहरुको चाहिँ त्यहाँ पढेको 4-5 वर्षको डकुमेन्टहरु छ अनि उहाँहरुको चाहिँ प्रोसेस गर्न हामीले कसरी हुन्छ हुँदैन कसो गर्नुपर्छ त्यो अलिकति आइडिया पाउन पाए हुन्थ्यो
So could you explain, like I have an aunt with her kids. तपाईँको क्वेसन चाहिँ बच्चाहरूको चाहिँ के छैन भन्नुभयो?
बच्चाहरूको चाहिँ त्यहाँ रेफ्युजी क्याम्पमा रेजिस्टर्ड छैन.
Okay, so the kids are not registered in the camp as refugees, but my aunt is. Now, how can we include the whole family?
Can I ask why they are not registered?
किन रेजिस्ट्रेसन भएको छैन नानीहरूको?
उहाँ चाहिँ आन्टी चाहिँ पहिला बाहिर बिहा गर्नुभएको रहेछ अनि उहाँको हस्बेन्ड चाहिँ हराएर मिसिङ भएपछि अनि उहाँको उपाय केही नभएर फेरि ऊ ब्याक क्याम्पमा भएर आउनुभयो. पहिल्यै आउनुभयो 2014 मै आउनुभएको अनि उहाँको चाहिँ प्रोसेस भएन. प्रोसेसका लागि बस्नुभयो. फोटो खिचेको थियो, फोटो दिएको छैन आन्टीको. अनि क्याम्पमै हुनुहुन्छ, क्याम्पमै बस्नुभएको छ. नानीहरूको चाहिँ पढ्न चाहिँ पाउने नानीहरूले तर रेजिस्टर चाहिँ भएन.
So she married to someone outside the Bhutanese community, and then later the husband disappeared, so she came back again with the kids.
Okay.
Sir.
Action. You sit down.
In this case, she would probably have to apply for an exemption for the children, explaining why they do not have documents.
Whatever is on.
Asmiko question ko answer bhayo होला. हामी चन्द्री मगर
पेपर चाहिँ भर्नुपर्छ.
Was that clear?
Okay, चन्द्री मगरको
मेरो पनि एउटा क्वेशन छ. हजुर
मेरो पनि एउटा क्वेशन थियो सोध्नुपर्ने.
मेरो एउटा क्वेशन
थियो. There are questions on our chat. हामीलाई च्याटमा प्रश्नहरू आएका छन्. एकछिन पर्खनुहोस् है त.
हजुर.
त्यहाँ नभएको प्रश्नहरू चाहिँ हामी फेरि सोध्न पाउने छौं. अहिले चाहिँ हामी त्यो च्याटमा गएको क्वेशनहरू तपाईको पनि प्रश्न हुन सक्छ. Charlotte, can you go to the question?
Of course, absolutely.
Answer, and then if we still have newer questions, then we can have people ask.
Absolutely, that's fine. I have time, so I'm not in a rush. So I have time to answer questions. Okay, so this person, how long the process takes, we already talked about that. Somebody said, I have 4 people in a refugee camp. One sister is adopted. Can I do the process for her? Yes, absolutely. It does not matter how people are family. If she is, you have the papers that shows that she is adopted, then that's perfectly fine. You can do that. If husband has registration document and wife doesn't, how does it work in this case? This is the same case. If you have issues with registration documents, you must contact the exemption team and ask them for an exemption. Okay, I put the link in the chat multiple times, and I can put it in there again. When there are documentation issues, you must email the exemption team and explain to them why the person does not have the documents. Okay? Let me go to the next question. Now I have lost my spot. Okay. Somebody asked about the bank accounts. It cannot be your personal bank account. You must open a new bank account. That's right. We already answered that other question about the bank account. I answered the question about the money. Does all the money need to be used that we're going to raise? No, it doesn't. If at the end of the few months, when your family has arrived and they got a job and you have leftover money, you do whatever you want with that money. If an individual has his wife and children in the U.S., but he couldn't come before because of his police case, but he wants to come through this process, can he do that? Would he qualify? As long as he has the documents, the refugee registration document, either with Nepal or with the UNHCR, yes, he would be able to do that. And if he has a US RAP number, you said an NP number, he should also enter that in the application. There is a spot I showed you where they ask for that number. I would recommend that you add that number in there. So yes, you would be able to sponsor him. Can a community also provide proof of funds? Yes, I answered that. They can write a letter saying that you have the money, so that's fine. How long the process takes, I answered that earlier. It can take a few months, but it can also take a few years. Is there an application deadline? No, there is no application deadline, and the application is now live. Is it okay to keep the current process pending and start over? Yes, thank you for asking this question. I should have said that earlier. You keep saving. You know the 7 parts in the application. Save every time, and you can log out, you can log back in. It takes people a few days and a few weeks to complete the application. So you can complete 1 part, log out, go and get the pictures, the document that you need, come back in, complete the rest until everything is completed. Okay? You don't have to do it in one go. Okay, Chandri asked another question that I can't read, but maybe we can come back to him in a moment. It looks like we'll have to apply for an exemption. Yes, if you do not have the right documents, please apply for an exemption. Okay. If the wife, Love, you asked if the wife and children are registered as refugees in a camp, but the husband is from India and not registered. Could exemption be issued? Yes, this is a perfect case of an exemption. If you have a husband or a wife or another family member that's from a different country, a different nationality, and they don't have a refugee status, that is a perfect example of why you request an exemption. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so now we can go back if you would like. Anybody who wants to log off, you can feel free, but I'm happy to stay to answer more questions until 12. Manish, I know you've had your hand up for a long time.
तपाईं म्युटमा हुनुहुन्छ, अनम्युट गर्नुस्।
मेरो नेपालमा 4 जना परिवार छ, ठुलाजु मालाजुको 3 जना, अनि ठुलाजु चाहिँ यता नआउने भएर हो कि के भएर हो, ऊ 67 सालदेखि 12-13 वर्ष भयो कोठामा बसेको, ऊ आउनु मान्दैन। त्यही कारणले आइएमले पनि ल्याउनु मानेन। एकजना उसँग बस्नुपर्छ भनेर चाहिँ मालाजु परिवार बसेको छ। अहिले पनि ऊ मानेन भने चाहिँ उलाई त्यही अवस्थामा छोडेर अरु 3 जना आउनु मिल्छ कि मिल्दैन भनेर सोध्न आँटेको मैले।
त्यो चाहिँ तपाईको इच्छा हुन्छ है। यसमा चाहिँ वेलकम कपले केही पनि भन्दैन। इच्छाको कुरा हो हैन। अब अरूले छोडेर आउने भन्यो भने र दियो सरकारले भने वेलकम कपले यसमा केही पनि भन्दैन।
हैन, उलाई चाहिँ ऊ मानेन भने उलाई छोडेर आउने भनेर अरु चाहिँ हामीले विचार गरिरहेका छौं कि त्यो चाहिँ उलाई छोड्नु दिन्छ दिँदैन भन्नु मात्रै खोजेको हामी।
पहिला दिएन भने अहिले पनि दिदैन। So, Charlotte, the question from Manish is, a family was held back because one member decided not to go for resettlement because he would, require caretaking from somebody. Others could not come either. So, if the rest of the family members want to leave him there and want to come, will they be accepted?
Yes, it is the family's choice. They can.
Choice, है त मैले भने अघि नै उहाँको खुसी हो।
ए हैन, मतलब हामीले उलाई चाहिँ त्यही अवस्थामा कसैलाई जिम्मा लाएर अरु चाहिँ आउन खोज्दै छौं कि हामी।
त्यो तपाईहरुको इच्छा हुन्छ त्यो चाहिँ।
ए हुन्छ हुन्छ त्यसै।
है एप्लिकेसनमा को लाउन चाहनुहुन्छ त्यतिलाई रोकिन्न। र उहाँलाई नलाउने हो भने एप्लिकेसनमा हाल्नु भएन। अर्को प्रश्न?
थ्यांक यू।
मेरो एउटा
अस्मी
हजुर, यो प्रोसेसको लागि नि हामीलाई तपाईको अलिकति हेल्प चाहियो। तपाईले हामीलाई हेल्प गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ सर यो एप्लिकेसन भर्नको लागि?
अस्मिज्यू यो तपाईँ भनेको कता
हजुर केएन सरलाई
बिक्यापलाई अब तपाईँ यहीँ बस्नुहुन्छ र हेल्प चाहिन्छ भने हेल्प हुन्छ
होइन हामी छौँ सर
ए ल ठिक छ
ए ल हुन्छ धन्यवाद
मेरो एउटा क्वेशन छ हजुर
एकछिन पर्खिनुहोस् है
मेरो एउटा क्वेशन छ हजुर
अस्मी बहिनी म्युटमा रहनुहोस् कर्ण तपाईँको पालो कर्णज्यू तपाईँले अनम्युट गर्दै हुनुहुन्थ्यो बोल्नको लागि अगाडि बढ्नुहोस्
भुटनिस हाम्रो जुन रिफ्युजी क्याम्पमा नि जतिजना थिए हामी उहाँका परिवार अब कतिको चाहिँ प्रोसेस भएन भनेर त्यतिकै के न के गरेर अड्काएर राखिदिएको छ अझै पनि राखिदिइरहेको छ तर उसको प्लेसमा चाहिँ अलरेडी नेप्लिस पिपलहरू चाहिँ अलरेडी यहाँ ल्याइसकेको रहेछ त्यस्तो खालको व्यक्तिहरूलाई चाहिँ के गर्नु सकिन्छ होला हामीले तर स्टिल उनीहरू चाहिँ रिफ्युजी क्याम्पमै छ
genuine refugees are still in the camp. They wanted to come, but some other people took their identity and have come here. How can we bring those who are genuine refugees in the camp and, were taken over by somebody else?
I have never heard this. That is not good. They would have to apply for an exemption, again, because they have document issues, and they would have to explain what happened to them.
यसको लागि हजुर
उहाँको चाहिँ अलरेडी डकुमेन्टमा चाहिँ उहाँ त्यो व्यक्तिहरूको डकुमेन्टमा चाहिँ अलरेडी नेपालको मान्छे लगाएर आइसकेको छ हामीले जुन त्यहाँ डाटा हेर्दाखेरि अलरेडी गइसकेको छ त भन्ने पारेको छ त्यहाँ चाहिँ हैन तर स्टिल हाम्रो आफ्नो मान्छे क्याम्पमा त्यही भएर कतिपय रहिरहेको छ सिधा साधा जनताहरू र त्यसको लागि चाहिँ के छ उहाँहरूसँग त डकुमेन्ट अलरेडी नेपाल के अरे अमेरिका रिसेटलमा गइसकेको छ भन्ने पारेको छ त्यहाँनिर त्यस्तो व्यक्तिहरू चाहिँ स्टिल रहिरहेको छ के गर्न सकिन्छ उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ
So the question I think is repeated. Somebody from Nepal took their identity and came as Bhutanese refugees.
Again, they would need to apply for an exemption, and they need to email the Welcome Corps exemption team explaining what happened, and the Welcome Corps exemption team will make a decision, maybe even ask them for additional information and documents. This would be a perfect case to apply for an exemption.
यो नयाँ केस परेको छ तैपनि तपाईहरुले उहाँसँग केही डकुमेन्ट छ अझै भने त्यो डकुमेन्ट सहित एक्जाम्पसन को लागि वेलकम कपसँग सहयोग दिनुहोस् त्यसमा सहयोग मिल्न सक्छ
अब यस्तो चाहिँ के छ भने अब डकुमेन्टहरु त अब उनीहरु रिफ्युजी हुँदै हो उहाँहरु क्याम्पमा बसेरै अब रासिन चामल खाएर बसेको हो तर जुन बेला अब उहाँहरु त्यहाँ जुन प्रोसेस गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ उनीहरुको सर्टमा चाहिँ अरूलाई
भाइ एकछिन कर्ण भाइ तपाईको क्वेशन रिपिट भयो कि त्यही प्रश्न गरिरहनु भयो तपाईले
हजुर
हामीले सबैले बुझ्यौं हैन उहाँहरु रेफ्युजी हो अब रेफ्युजी हो भने त्यो एक्जाम्पसन भन्ने पार्ट छ एप्लिकेसन फर्ममा त्यो चाहिँ भरेर हामीले वेलकम कपलाई बुझाउने उहाँहरुले सहयोग गर्नु मलाई धन्यवाद अर्को प्रश्न कमलबाट आउन खोज्दै थियो
सर मेरो क्वेशन चाहिँ नि मेरो उहाँ आफन्तहरुको जुन अब उहाँहरुले सुरुदेखि नै प्रोसेस गर्नु भएको थिएन तर उहाँहरुको जुन डकुमेन्ट छ उहाँहरुले त्यो पनि रिन्यू गर्नु भएको छैन
कुन चाहिँ डकुमेन्ट रिन्यू भएन
उहाँ चाहिँ युनेस्को को जुन तपाईहरुको उहाँ डकुमेन्ट हुन्छ नि त्यो चाहिँ उहाँहरुले रिन्यू गर्नु भएको छैन उहाँहरुले तर उहाँहरु स्टिल भुटनिज हो उहाँ रिफ्युजी नै हो तर उहाँहरुले जुन त्यो युनेस्कोमा गएर त्यो पेपर रिन्यू गर्नुपर्ने थियो रिन्यू गरिरहनु पर्ने थियो त्यो चाहिँ गर्नु भएको छैन भने त्यसको लागि के गर्नु पर्ला त
क्याम्पमा रेजिस्ट्रेसन त छ नि त
छ पुरानो छ हैन उहाँहरुको रेजिस्ट्रेसन सबै पुरानो छ तर रिन्यू गर्नु भएको छैन उहाँहरुले
So they were supposed to get their UNHCR refugee registration card, which they did not do. How will that affect?
Do they have another registration, refugee registration from the country they are in right now?
Yes, they have.
From the government?
From the government.
then that counts as well. It does not have to be UNHCR. It can be from the government they are in right now.
हजुर UNHCR कै कार्ड रिन्यू गरिनु परेन यदि नेपाल सरकारमा रेजिस्ट्रेसन भएको छ अथवा हामी त आरसीयू भनेर जान्दछौँ आरसीयू अफिसमा रेजिस्ट्रेसन भएको छ भने त्यो डकुमेन्टले पनि काम गर्छ
भनेपछि हजुर हामीले त्यो रिन्यू गरिरहनु पर्ने भन्ने टेन्सन भएन हैन
हजुर हजुर परेन कमलजीलाई प्रश्नको लागि धन्यवाद हामी अरु प्रश्न we might have some questions on the chat box.
I have been watching and answering some of them.
Yes. Okay, great.
मेरो पनि क्वेशन थियो अघिदेखि सोध्न खोजिरहेको थिएँ
हजुर को बोल्दै हुनुहुन्छ
हजुर म रबिना बोल्दै छु
रबिना अघि बढ्नुस् तपाईको प्रश्न राख्नुस्
हजुर मेरो मम्मी भाइ र बहिनी उही हुनुहुन्छ क्याम्पमै प्रोसेस हुँदा हुँदै उहाँहरूले चाहिँ क्यान्सल लेटर रिसिभ गर्नु भएको थियो क्यान्सल लेटर रिसिभ गरेर फेरि अब प्रोसेस गर्न मिल्छ कि मिल्दैन
मिल्छ भनिएको छ यो प्रश्नको एन्सर अघि भएको थियो
ए हजुर फेरि भन्नुहोस् न
हजुर प्रोसेस अगाडि पहिला केही प्रोसेसहरु भएको थियो र त्यो पूर्ण भएन भने तपाईले वेलकम कप मार्फत फेरि प्रोसेस चलाउन सक्नुहुन्छ क्वेशन वाज there a process for resettlement had begun and it stopped somewhere can we still go ahead and submit an application through welcome call
Yes, you can, because Welcome Corps is different from regular resettlement. So you can apply for Welcome Corps. It is not the same program.
हजुर तपाईको प्रश्नको एन्सर हो सकिन्छ
ए क्यान्सल लेटर पाएर पनि सकिन्छ है
त्यो पहिलाको प्रक्रिया छुट्टै थियो वेलकम कपको छुट्टै प्रक्रिया हो
हजुर ए हुन्छ उहाँहरुसँग यदि आईडी कार्डहरु छ भने चाहिँ उहाँहरुले प्रोसेस गर्न मिल्यो वेलकम कपमा
तपाईले पहिला यहाँबाट सुरु गर्नु एप्लाई गर्नु पर्यो
हजुर
यहाँबाट गरिन्छ अब उहाँहरु रेफ्युजी हो भन्ने कागजपत्र छ भने त्यति भयो हैन ओके हुन्छ प्रश्न छ
हजुर I have a question.
Okay,
I have a question.
यसै जानुस् अगाडि
I think this is for Charlotte. Charlotte, again, the procedural question. It looks like I may have to apply for exemption for my relatives. But my question is, do I have to begin with the bank account establishment, or do I wait for the exemption approval?
Good question. I would wait to know if you qualify for an exemption because there is no point in starting all the other steps if you don't know that an exemption will be accepted.
Accepted. Okay.
Yes.
So that's a step. That's a step in between in the midst of the application. So I don't have to complete for the.
You don't have to complete the entire application. Just complete the basic stuff and then request an exemption.
Exemption. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the program.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No. प्रश्न सोध्नलाई हो भने सोध्नुस्
Yes, I do have one question.
हरिजी एकछिन ल यता अगाडिदेखि माइक्रोफोन अन भएको देख्ने सोध्नलाई हो कि होइन भने
हजुर मेरो सोध्दा हुन्छ अब
जानुस् अघि बढ्नुस् तपाईको नाम
हजुर मेरो एस्तर हो मेरो चाहिँ के छ भने मेरो दाजु एकजना हुनुहुन्छ त्यहाँ क्याम्पमा अन्त त्यो दाजु चाहिँ उसको रिफ्युजी कार्ड पनि छ तर त्यो डकुमेन्टहरु चाहिँ त्यो रिन्यू गरेको छ कि छैन मैले सोधेको छैन अनि पहिला चाहिँ हामीसँग एउटै फ्यामिलीमा आएको सानैदेखि हुर्केको दाजु हो आपाले हुर्काउनु भएको सानैदेखि उहाँको बाआमा चाहिँ सानैमा मरेर अन्त यसरी प्रोसेस गर्दाखेरि डिएनए चेक गर्छ अरे के अरे भन्छ तर त्यो होइन रहेछ अहिले बुझ्दाखेरि हैन यो प्रोसेसमा चाहिँ अनि त्यो प्रोसेस गर्दाखेरि 5 जना कि 10 जना साइन गर्नुपर्छ भनेको सुने त्यो 5 जना 10 जना चाहिँ आफ्नै रिलेटिभ्स हुनुपर्छ कि साथीहरु कि यहाँ अमेरिकन फ्रेन्ड हुनुपर्छ
good question. So question was about who can form who can form the sponsor group. Should it all be the relatives or can our American friend can also join?
Very good question. Yes. Anyone can form the 5 members of sponsors. It can be families, it can be Americans, it can be people at work, it can be a mix of the two. It does not matter. anyone, as long as they are 18 and live in the same area.
Hello. तपाईको ग्रुपमा एकछिन 1 2 3 देख्दैछु नाममा म तपाईबाट आउँछु तपाईको प्रश्नको उत्तर भयो जस्तो लाग्यो तपाईको आफ्नो स्पोन्सर ग्रुप बनाउनको लागि जसले पनि जोइन गर्न सक्छन् त्यसमा 18 वर्ष भन्दा माथिको चाहिँ हुन्छ अनि प्रश्न एकछिन है त हरि हजुर हरिजीकोमा जाउँ
Okay, I do have one question for the applications. If we create a 5-member sponsors and apply for suppose 7 people's application, and in the meantime of application, in the process time, if one is missing some reason, he might be expired or he might be jailed or some reason. One cannot continue that application. Is the process need to be restart for other or the same application work for other people?
Good question. Okay. So first, let me make sure I understand. When you say if one doesn't continue, do you mean the refugees or the sponsors in the U.S.?
Oh, refugees.
Okay. So if this happens, it's okay. You just need to let the U.S. officers know right away so they can note it, they can let Welcome Corps know, and they can continue to process the rest of the family. We just would need to know right away, but the others could continue the process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We have one question in the chat from Chandra.
Hello? Yes. Oh, I think 1 2 3 wanted to.
Okay, so 1 2 3 go ahead.
या मेरो नाम पियो हो मेरो दिदी नेपालमा हुनुहुन्छ अनि उहाँ क्याम्पमा चाहिँ आइडेन्टिफिकेसन कार्ड चाहिँ रिन्यू गर्नुभएको छैन पुरै एक्सपायर भएको रहेछ अनि अहिलेसम्म चाहिँ उहाँको आरसीहरूले दिदी जस्तो धेरै मान्छेहरू हुनुहुन्छ अरे तब अरू 2 जना फ्यामिलीको चाहिँ रिन्यू भइसकेको छ तर दिदीको चाहिँ रिन्यू भएको छैन त्यो सिचुएसनमा चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ
यसको यो प्रश्नको एन्सर अघि भएको थियो रेजिस्ट्रेसन यदि रेफ्युजी युएनएचसीआरले दिएको कार्ड रिन्यू भएको छैन भने पनि यदि आरसीयूमा रेजिस्ट्रेसन छ भने त्यो कागजपत्र पर्याप्त हुन्छ
हुन्छ थ्यांक यू
हस् धन्यवाद Chandri's question.
Okay. Okay, so you answered that question from the lady?
Oh, yes, I did. Sorry.
Yes, you did. Okay, just making sure. Okay, Chandri, you asked a question. I'm not sure I understand what your question is. I'm sorry.
So let me put that question for you. So, Chandri says she's living with her father who receives SSI.
Yes.
Instead of father, can I process or can I sponsor my brother instead of
Of course, absolutely. Anyone can sponsor anyone.
है 18 वर्ष चाहिँ हुनु पर्यो आफू त्यहाँदेखि माथिको उमेरको मान्छेहरूले ग्रुप बनाएर जसले पनि स्पोन्सर गर्न सकिन्छ है त तपाईको प्रश्नको उत्तर सकिन्छ तपाईले सक्नुहुन्छ है त चण्डी महोदय
डिपोजिट चाहिँ कति पो गर्नु पर्यो भन्नु हुँदै थियो
2420 कि 25 छ एक जनाको लागि
2420
2400 समथिङ थियो अब व्हाट वाज द अमाउन्ट फर वन पर्सन 2425 थ्यांक यू
सर हाम्रो लेबी सरले पनि क्वेशन छ भन्नु भएको छ
Very good. 2425. Okay, next. Goma.
हेलो हजुर कसैले प्रश्न सोध्न खोज्दै हुनुहुन्छ गोमा तपाईको प्रश्न छ भने सोध्नुस्
Yes.
तपाईको प्रश्न छैन भने म्युटमा बसिदिनुस् छ भने सोधिहाल्नुस् हामी अरूलाई दिनुपर्छ
मेरो छ एउटा प्रश्न